The conference room aboard the Galactic Council station floated in the darkness of space, its massive windows showing the stars beyond. Ambassador Jiwoo Park sat at the human delegation table, her face calm despite the tension in the air. Across from her, the Krell War Master Throck stood tall, his scales gleaming under the artificial lights. His species had conquered 40 star systems in the last century, and now they wanted more. Your response, human? Throck's voice rumbled through the translation device. Will you surrender your colony worlds, or will you face the consequences? Jiwoo adjusted her glasses and spoke softly. War Master, surely we can find a peaceful solution. Humanity has always sought cooperation with our galactic neighbors. Throck laughed, a harsh sound that made several other delegates flinch. You have 10 days to evacuate your outer colonies. After that, they belong to the Krell Dominion. Your fleet of 200 ships cannot stop us. The other species in the chamber watched with pity in their eyes. The insectoid Vrel clicked their mandibles sympathetically. The aquatic Cephrons bubbled sadly in their water tanks. Everyone knew humanity stood no chance against the Krell armada of 10,000 warships. Jiwoo stood and bowed slightly. I must consult with my government. We will respond within the deadline. She left the chamber with steady steps, but her heart raced. As soon as she reached her private quarters, she activated the quantum communicator hidden in her desk. This is Park. The Krell have made their move. Authorization code Omega 77. Light years away, in a hidden facility deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, Admiral Taeyang Kim received the message. He stood in the command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing star charts and fleet positions. Officers worked at their stations around him, their faces focused and serious. Confirmed, Ambassador, Taeyang replied. How long do we have? 10 days before they attack New Sol Colony. Taeyang nodded to himself. 50 years. 50 years of pretending to be weak, of hiding their true strength, of building in secret. Now, it would finally be revealed. Begin Operation Unveiled Fist. Notify all fleet commanders. Remove all restrictions. Around him, officers began typing commands into their consoles. Across human space, hidden shipyards received the signal. In asteroid fields, dark matter nebulae, and hollow moons, massive doors began to open. Ships that had been built in complete secrecy started powering up their engines. Captain Hyen-Seo Lee stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Silent Thunder, watching her sensors. Sir, we're receiving the activation codes. Good, said Commander Bio Rachoy from her position at the tactical station. 50 years of hiding in the shadows. Time to show them what we really are. On New Sol, the colonists went about their daily lives, unaware of the storm coming their way. The colony housed 3 million humans, with farms, factories, and schools spread across the planet's surface. Defense Commander Sung-Min Han walked through the command bunker, checking readiness reports. Sir, the Krell fleet has been spotted, reported a young officer. They'll be here in 9 days. Sung-Min smiled grimly. Let them come. Make sure all civilians are in the shelters by day 8. And activate the hidden defense grid. The hidden grid, sir? The officer looked confused. You'll see soon enough. In the Krellholm system, Throck prepared his fleet for glory. His warriors sharpened their claws and checked their weapons. The humans would be easy prey, he thought. They were soft, diplomatic, always talking instead of fighting. Their ships were slow and their weapons primitive compared to Krell technology. War Master, said his second-in-command. Our intelligence reports that human ships are moving into unusual positions. Let them scramble, Throck growled. It changes nothing. We outnumber them 50-1. Back on the Galactic Council station, Ambassador Jiwoo met privately with Chancellor Vrex, the station's leader. The elderly alien looked at her with concern. Ambassador Park, please reconsider. The Krell will destroy your fleet. Thousands of humans will die. Ji Woo poured herself tea from a thermos she had brought. Chancellor, humanity appreciates your concern, but we must stand for what is right. Standing for what is right means nothing if you're dead, Rex said sadly. I have seen the Krell destroy species more powerful than yours. Have you, though? Ji Woo asked quietly, sipping her tea. How do you know how powerful humanity truly is? Rex blinked in confusion. Your fleet numbers are public record, are they? Ji Woo smiled slightly. Chancellor, humanity has learned much in our 50 years among the stars. We've learned about technology, about diplomacy, about galactic politics. She set down her cup. Most importantly, we've learned about war. Every war fought in the last 1,000 years. Every tactic, every weapon, every mistake made by every species. What are you saying? I'm saying that in 10 days, the galaxy will see something new. Ji Woo stood. Humanity has been very patient, Chancellor. Very careful. Very strategic. As she left, Rex felt a chill run through his body. Something in the human's voice had changed. The softness was gone, replaced by something cold and certain. Admiral Taeyang stood before a massive viewport, watching as ships began to emerge from hiding. Dreadnoughts the size of cities, carriers loaded with firecraft, destroyers bristling with weapons. The fleet had grown in the shadows, built by automated factories and hidden shipyards. 15,000 warships, all equipped with technology that no other species had ever seen. All ships report ready, Admiral. Report in his communications officer. Taeyang touched the window with one hand. 50 years ago, when we first met the other species, we realized something. The peaceful ones had all been conquered or enslaved. The strong ones survived. He turned to face his crew. We chose to appear weak until we were strong enough to guarantee our own survival. Today, that guarantee is activated. Orders, sir? Send the fleet to New Seoul. It's time to teach the Krell what human warfare really looks like. The Krell fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Seoul system. 10,000 warships, each one a weapon of destruction, filled the darkness of space with their presence. War Master Throck stood on the bridge of his flagship Devourer, watching the tactical displays with satisfaction. Scan for human forces, he commanded, detecting 52 human vessels. War Master, reported the sensor officer. They're positioned in defensive formation around the colony world. Throck laughed. 52 ships against 10,000. They truly are fools. He raised his clawed hand. All ships, advance. Weapons free. Show no mercy. The Krell Armada moved forward like a wave of death. Their ships were painted in dark red and black, adorned with the symbols of their many conquests. Plasma cannons charged, missile tubes loaded, and boarding craft prepared to launch. On New Seoul, Commander Soo Min watched the approaching fleet from his command bunker. Around him, officers monitored systems and prepared defensive weapons. One young officer's hand shook as he checked his display. Sir, they're coming. So many of them. Soo Min placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. Steady. Remember your training. And remember, what you see is not everything that's there. In orbit, Captain Hyan Seo Lee stood aboard the destroyer Defiant, one of the 52 visible human ships. Her crew worked calmly at their stations, checking weapons and shields. Captain, the Krell fleet is entering weapons range, reported her tactical officer. Hold position, Hyan Seo ordered. Wait for the signal. The Krell fired first. Thousands of plasma bolts and missiles streaked across space toward the human ships. The human vessel shields flared as they absorbed the impacts, and several ships began to take damage. Return fire, Hyan Seo commanded calmly. The human ships fired back with conventional weapons. railguns and missiles that the Krell easily deflected or shot down. To Thrak, it looked like the humans were fighting desperately with outdated technology. Pathetic, Thrak sneered. Launch boarding parties. Begin landing operations. Krell troop ships broke away from the main fleet, heading toward New Sol's surface. Thousands of warriors prepared to conquer the human colony. But just as they began their descent, something changed. Space rippled dot at first. The Krell sensor operators thought their equipment was malfunctioning. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist in dozens of locations throughout the system. Then the ripple stabilized, and new ships appeared. Not 50 ships. Not 100, thousands. Impossible! Thrak roared. Where did they come from? Across the system, human warships decloaked simultaneously. Massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything in the Krell fleet. Sleek destroyers equipped with weapons the galaxy had never seen. Carrier ships that launched clouds of autonomous fighter drones. In seconds, the human fleet grew from 52 ships to 15,000. Commander Ba'ara Choi stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Indomitable, the largest warship humanity had ever built. Around her, the crew worked with practiced efficiency. All systems green, reported her executive officer. Quantum phase weapons charged and ready. Target the Krell command ships, Ba'ara ordered. Show them what real power looks like. Fire. The Indomitable unleashed its main weapons. Purple beams of energy lanced out across space, striking Krell battleships. But these weren't normal energy weapons. They phased through the Krell shields as if they weren't there, cutting straight into the ship's hulls. Massive explosions rippled across the Krell formation as their largest vessels broke apart. Impossible! Thrak shouted again. Our shields should stop any energy weapon. His science officer's voice trembled. War Master, they're using quantum phase disruption. The weapons exist in multiple dimensional states simultaneously. Our shields can't detect or block them. All across the system, human ships opened fire. Railguns accelerated projectiles to 30% of light speed, creating kinetic impacts that punched through armor like paper. Plasma lances heated to millions of degrees carved through Krell ships. Missile swarms equipped with artificial intelligence hunted their targets with perfect accuracy. But perhaps most terrifying were the human fighters. Small, fast craft that moved in ways that shouldn't be possible. Their gravity manipulation drives, letting them turn and accelerate beyond anything the Krell had encountered. Each fighter pilot was enhanced with neural interfaces that let them react in microseconds. They tore through Krell formations like sharks through fish. Captain Hyan Seo's destroyer joined the assault. Target the troop carriers. Don't let any of them reach the surface. Her crew fired with precision. One by one, the Krell ships carrying invasion forces exploded or fled. The few that made it to the atmosphere were shot down by surface defenses that suddenly activated, revealing that the peaceful colony had been armed with weapons the entire time. Admiral Taeyang watched from his command ship Horizon, seeing the battle unfold across multiple displays. Each human ship was connected through quantum communication networks, allowing instant coordination. Every shot was calculated by advanced artificial intelligence. Every movement was part of a larger tactical plan. Krell fleet is breaking formation, reported his tactical officer. They're attempting to retreat. Let some of them go, Taeyang said calmly. But make sure they understand the message. Target their engines and weapons. Leave them crippled but alive. The human fleet shifted tactics instantly. Instead of destroying every ship, they disabled them. Precise shots took out engines and weapon systems, leaving the Krell vessels floating helplessly in space. Thrak watched in horror as his mighty armada was torn apart. 9,000 ships destroyed or disabled in just hours. His own flagship was damaged, systems failing across the board. War Master, we must retreat. His second-in-command urged, "No. We cannot show weakness to these prey animals." "They're not prey," the officer shouted. "They're predators. We've made a terrible mistake." A communication channel opened. Admiral Taeyang's face appeared on Throk's screen, his expression cold and calm. "War Master Throk, this is Admiral Taeyang Kim of the Terran Defense Forces. You came to conquer us. You assumed we were weak because we spoke of peace. Let me be clear. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Throk's claws clenched. You deceived the entire galaxy. We protected ourselves, Taeyang corrected. We studied every war fought in galactic history. We learned from everyone's victories and defeats. We built weapons you've never imagined. And we waited until we were strong enough that no one could threaten us." He leaned forward. "You wanted war, Throk. Now you have it. And you're losing." Around New Seoul, the battle ended. The Krell fleet was destroyed. Those ships that could still move limped away at sublight speeds, too damaged to jump to faster than light. The human fleet held position, weapons still charged, ready for any trick. Commander Baor received a message from Admiral Taeyang. "Well done, Commander. Begin rescue operations for Krell survivors. We're not monsters." On the planet's surface, Sun Min watched the sky where debris from destroyed ships burned up in the atmosphere like shooting stars. The young officer beside him stared in awe. "Sir, we won." "We actually won." "Of course we did," Sun Min said quietly. "Humanity always wins. Because we prepare, we adapt, and we never give up." Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council's Observer Sentinel Queller had recorded everything. The artificial intelligence probe had witnessed the entire battle. Now it transmitted its findings to the Council Station, where representatives of dozens of species waited for news. When they saw the recordings, silence fell across the chamber. The humans had hidden an entire fleet. Their technology was decades ahead of anyone else's. And they had dismantled the Krell Armada with terrifying efficiency. Chancellor Vrex watched the footage with wide eyes. By the stars. What have they been building all this time? Ambassador Ji-woo entered the chamber. Every eye turned to her. She walked to the human delegation's podium with calm steps. "Honored delegates," she began, "humanity tried peace. We offered cooperation and friendship. The Krell chose war." She gestured to the recordings. "Now you've seen what happens when humanity is forced to fight. We didn't want this, but we were ready for it." Across the galaxy, the message spread. Humanity was not what it seemed. The peaceful species that had joined the Council 50 years ago had been hiding its true strength all along. And in the Krell home system, War Master Throk's battered flagship arrived carrying terrible news. The galaxy was about to change forever. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every member species packed the hall, all demanding answers. Ambassador Ji-woo stood at the central podium, calm despite the chaos around her. "You lied to us," shouted the Vrel ambassador, his insect wings buzzing with agitation. "You claimed to have only 200 ships." "We never claimed that," Ji-woo replied evenly. "You assumed it based on the ships we showed you. We never corrected that assumption." Chancellor Vrex raised his hands for silence. "Ambassador Park, please explain. How long has humanity been hiding this fleet?" Ji-woo touched a control, and holographic images appeared above the chamber. They showed human history, wars fought on Earth, technological development, and finally, the construction of the hidden fleet. When humanity first made contact with the galaxy 50 years ago, we did what we do best. We studied. We researched. We learned. The images shifted to show historical records. We examined every war fought in the last 1,000 years. Every species that chose peace without strength was conquered or enslaved. Every species that survived had military power to back their words. She paused, letting that sink in. So we made a choice. We would build strength in secret while appearing weak. We sent scientists and engineers to your worlds, learning about your technology. We participated in cultural exchanges that were also intelligence gathering. Every piece of information we received, we used to improve our weapons and ships. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Many species felt betrayed. The aquatic Cephrons bubbled furiously in their tanks. The crystalline Azarans chimed in discordant tones. You spied on us, accused a delegate. We prepared ourselves, Jiwoo corrected. And today, that preparation saved New Soul Colony from destruction. 3 million human lives were protected because we were ready. Her voice hardened. Would you prefer we had been weak? Would you prefer the Krell had conquered us? Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Chancellor Rex received an urgent message, his face turning pale. The Krell have formed a coalition, he announced. 6 other species have joined them. They're assembling a fleet of 50,000 ships. Yiwoo's expression didn't change, but inside, her heart raced. She had expected retaliation, but not on this scale. Which species? Rex read from his display. The Drachnary, the Torvan Empire, the unified clans of Rock, the Serpentine Collective, the Harvesters, and the Voidwalkers. They claim humanity is a threat to galactic peace. Deep in space, aboard a stealth ship near the Krell homeworld, Captain Yuna Kang received the intelligence report. She was part of humanity's Special Operations Division, and her team had been gathering information on enemy movements. Captain, confirmed, reported her intelligence officer. The coalition is real. They're gathering at the nexus point. Yuna studied the data. They think overwhelming numbers will win. They don't understand modern warfare. She activated her communication system. Get me Admiral Taeyang. The Admiral's face appeared on her screen. Captain Kang, report. Sir, the coalition is forming at Nexus Point. They're bringing ships from all over their territories. It'll take them 2 weeks to fully assemble. 2 weeks, Taeyang mused. Time enough for us to prepare surprises. Begin Operation Shadow Strike. Hit their supply lines and repair facilities. Make them paranoid. Make them afraid. Yuna smiled coldly. Understood, sir. We'll show them what happens when you fight humans. Over the next week, strange things began happening across Coalition territory. Repair stations mysteriously exploded. Supply convoys vanished without a trace. Communication arrays went offline. The Coalition species blamed each other at first, not realizing that human Special Forces teams were operating in their space. Captain Yuna led one such team aboard the Krell repair station Omicron 7. They moved through the dark corridors in powered armor, silent and deadly. The Krell workers never knew they were there until it was too late. Charges placed, reported her demolition specialist. Station will be unsalvageable. Good, Yuna said. Leave the signature. Let them know humans were here. They escaped before the charges detonated. As their stealth ship jumped to faster than light speed, the massive repair station exploded behind them. Painted on the wall near the explosion, in luminous paint, was a simple message. Humanity remembers. The psychological warfare was working. Coalition species began seeing humans everywhere. Paranoia spread. Trust between the allied species began to crack. Meanwhile, on Saturn's moon Titan, General Sung-Min Han prepared for a different kind of warfare. The Krell, desperate to prove their strength, had sent ground forces to attack the human research base there. 5,000 Krell warriors, their best troops, dropped from orbit in assault pods. General, Enemy forces landing in sectors 3 through 7. Reported his tactical officer. Sung-min watched the tactical display calmly. Release the hounds. Deep beneath Titan's surface, armor bay doors opened. Human soldiers in advanced powered armor launched themselves into the frozen landscape. These weren't ordinary soldiers. Each suit enhanced their strength 50 times over, had shields that could stop plasma fire, and carried weapons that made the wearer a walking tank. The Krell warriors, expecting to fight soft humans, instead faced nightmares. The human soldiers moved faster than should be possible, their armor's servomotors giving them inhuman speed. When a Krell warrior's claws struck human armor, the shields flared and held. When human weapons fired back, Krell armor crumbled like paper. Lieutenant Taemanon led his squad through the ice fields, his armor's sensors tracking enemy positions. Contact: 12 Krell warriors at 2 o'clock. Engaging, his squad confirmed. They moved as one unit, their neural interfaces allowing them to coordinate without speaking. Railgun rounds from their shoulder-mounted weapons took down Krell at range. Energy blades extended from their gauntlets for close combat. In minutes, the 12 warriors were eliminated. Across the battlefield, the story repeated. 5,000 Krell landed. Fewer than 200 survived to retreat. General Sung-min watched the battle recordings with grim satisfaction. "Send this footage to the Coalition," he ordered. "Let them see what happens when they try ground combat with humanity." Back at the Galactic Council, Ambassador Ji-woo met secretly with delegates from several species. These were representatives who feared the Coalition's aggression. Species that saw humanity not as a threat but as potential protection. "Ambassador Park," said the Luminary delegate, "a being of pure light contained in a crystalline shell. Our people wish to propose an alliance." Ji-woo considered carefully. "An alliance would mean you're choosing sides in this war." "The Coalition has already made that choice for us," replied the crystalline representative. "They demand we join them or face consequences. We prefer to stand with those who can actually protect us." "Humanity isn't looking to build an empire," Ji-woo said firmly. "We know. That's why we trust you." The Luminary pulsed with earnest light. "You could have destroyed the Krell completely at New Seoul. Instead, you disabled their ships and rescued survivors. You're warriors, yes, but not murderers." Ji-woo made a decision. "Very well. But understand this. If you ally with humanity, we expect you to follow our strategic planning. This is total war, and we don't have time for committee decisions." They agreed. Within days, 5 species had secretly aligned with humanity, providing intelligence, resources, and strategic locations for human bases. Admiral Taeyang received the news aboard the Horizon. His fleet had grown to 20,000 ships, with new vessels rolling out of automated shipyards every day. But he knew that wouldn't be enough against 50,000 Coalition ships. "Admiral, we're outnumbered 2 to 1, his second-in-command pointed out. "Numbers aren't everything," Taeyang replied. "We have better technology, better tactics, and better coordination. Plus, we have something they don't." "What's that, sir?" Taeyang pulled up a classified file. "Project Horizon. It's time to show the galaxy what total warfare really means." In a hidden facility orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Hai Jin-moon watched as the final components of Project Horizon came online. Thousands of satellites equipped with quantum entanglement communicators formed a network across human space. Every ship, every weapon platform, every soldier could now coordinate in real time, instantaneously, regardless of distance. "System active," she reported to Admiral Taeyang. "We now have total battlefield awareness across all of human territory." "Excellent. When the Coalition comes, they'll find out what it means to fight an enemy that knows everything and coordinates perfectly." The Coalition fleet gathered at Nexus Point, a massive assembly of 50,000 warships. The Krell, Draknari, and their allies felt confident. Surely this force could crush the humans. War Master Throck, demoted but still commanding a ship, looked at the assembled armada. This time, we will not underestimate them. This time, we bring enough force to destroy Earth itself. The Coalition Command voted. Their target, humanity's home system. So, Earth thought they would attack the birthplace of humanity and end this war once and for all. When Admiral Taeyang received intelligence about the Coalition's plan, he smiled. They're coming to Sol Perfect. Perfect, sir? His tactical officer asked, confused. They've never seen Sol System's true defenses. No one has. Taeyang's smile widened. The Coalition fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol System, 50,000 warships strong. War Master Throck stood aboard his new command ship, staring at the display showing humanity's home star. Finally, he growled, "We will burn their home world and end this threat forever." The Draknari fleet commander, a serpentine creature named Silther, hissed in agreement. Our combined might cannot be stopped. We have learned from New Sol. This time, we're ready for their tricks. But as their sensors swept the system, confusion spread through the Coalition command. War Master, reported the sensor officer. We're detecting unusual readings throughout the system. What kind of readings? Energy signatures. Hundreds of thousands of them. From every asteroid, every moon, even the outer cloud of debris. Throke's blood ran cold. Explain. Sir, I think the entire system is weaponized. At Earth's Moon Defense Command, Admiral Taeyang watched the Coalition fleet on his displays. Around him, officers worked calmly, executing the defense plan they had practiced for decades. All platforms report ready, announced his tactical coordinator. 123,000 defensive positions active. Fleet standing by. Taeyang touched his communication panel. This is Admiral Kim to all forces. The enemy has come to our home. Show them why that was a mistake. Execute Protocol Fortress. Across the Sol System, weapons platforms activated. What the Coalition had thought were ordinary asteroids revealed themselves as massive gun platforms. The moons of Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune lit up with energy signatures as hidden bases came online. Even the Oort cloud, the distant shell of ice and rock at the system's edge, was weaponized. Commander Jae-hoon Shin stood on the bridge of the super dreadnought Terra's Wrath, humanity's most powerful warship. The ship was the size of a small moon, bristling with experimental weapons that had never been used in combat. All systems green, reported his weapons officer. Singularity cannons charged and ready. Hold position, Jae-hoon ordered. Let them come deeper into the system. The more they commit, the harder they fall. The Coalition fleet advanced cautiously, spreading out across space. They expected resistance, but hoped their numbers would overwhelm any defense. They had no idea what waited for them. On Earth's surface, in the city of New Tokyo, Young-soo Beek stood on his apartment balcony, looking up at the night sky. He was a civilian, a teacher, but like everyone on Earth, he knew about the approaching enemy fleet. His daughter Misun tugged his sleeve. Papa, will we be safe? Young-soo knelt down to her level. Yes, little one. The Admiral and his fleet will protect us. They've been preparing for this my whole life. Why did the aliens attack us? Because they were afraid, Young-soo explained gently. They thought we were weak, and when they learned the truth, they became scared. Scared people do foolish things. Around Earth, massive orbital defense stations powered up. These weren't hidden like the outer defenses. These were proudly visible, monuments to humanity's determination to never be conquered. Each station could destroy a battleship with a single shot. The Coalition fleet reached Neptune's orbit. That's when the first platforms fired. Railgun rounds accelerated to 40% of light speed streaked across space, punching through coalition ships before they could even detect them. Energy beams from hidden weapons platforms on Neptune's moons carved through formations. Missile swarms launched from Triton, Neptune's largest moon, seeking targets with artificial intelligence guidance. Evasive action. Throck shouted as his ship rocked from impacts. Return fire. The coalition fleet opened up with everything they had. Plasma bolts, missiles, and energy beams filled space. But they were firing at targets they could barely detect, hidden among natural celestial objects. Meanwhile, humanity's weapons found their marks with devastating accuracy. The battle raged across the outer system. Coalition ships destroyed asteroid platforms and moon bases. But for every human position they eliminated, 10 more revealed themselves. It was like fighting ghosts at Jupiter. The coalition fleet tried to group together for a coordinated push toward Earth. That's when Commander Jaehoon decided it was time. Bring us about, he ordered. Target the Draknuri command cluster. Singularity cannons fire. The Terra's Wrath unleashed its main weapons. Purple-black spheres of energy shot across space, each one a tiny artificial black hole. When they struck the Draknari ships, the vessels simply collapsed inward, crushed by impossible gravity before the singularities dispersed. Silthar watched in horror as his fleet died around him. What kind of weapons are these? They're using gravitational manipulation, his science officer reported, voice shaking. They've weaponized black holes. Impossible. The energy requirements alone. Dr. Hai-Jin Moon, watching from her lab on Jupiter's moon Europa, smiled at her screens. Project Horizon wasn't just about communications. It was also about power. Humanity had cracked zero-point energy, tapping into the quantum vacuum itself for unlimited power. Every weapon platform, every ship, had access to essentially infinite energy. Activating Horizon Network Combat Mode, she announced. All platforms now coordinating through quantum entanglement. Across the system, over 100,000 defensive positions suddenly began operating as a single organism. Every shot was calculated. Every movement coordinated. The coalition fleet faced an enemy that literally knew where. Every ship was at all times and could adjust tactics instantly. Captain Yuna Kang's stealth ships hit the coalition's rear formations, targeting support vessels and carriers. Her teams had perfected hit-and-run tactics, appearing from nowhere, destroying targets, and vanishing before anyone could respond. Ammunition ship destroyed, she reported. That's the fourth one. Their fleet is running out of supplies. Admiral Tai Yang watched the battle unfold on his tactical displays. The coalition fleet had lost 20,000 ships already. They were still trying to push toward Earth, but every light minute closer cost them hundreds more vessels. Sir, the enemy is attempting to break through at Mars, reported his tactical officer. Release the drone swarms. From hidden bays on Mars and its moons, clouds of autonomous combat drones launched. Millions of small craft, each one equipped with basic weapons and programmed with combat artificial intelligence. They swarmed the coalition ships like angry insects, overwhelming point defenses and attacking weak points. A Krull battleship fired its weapons desperately, destroying hundreds of drones. But thousands more kept coming, attaching to the hull and cutting through armor. Within minutes, the battleship was dead in space, systems destroyed by the relentless swarm. Throck realized they were losing. Badly, all ships, full retreat. Back to the jump point. But retreating through the Sol system meant running a gauntlet of human defenses. Coalition ships tried to flee, but weapons platforms tracked them mercilessly. Only those vessels with enough speed and luck made it back to the edge of the system. Of the 50,000 ships that had attacked, fewer than 8,000 escaped. On Earth, Young-Soo watched the sky light up with distant flashes as debris from destroyed ships burned up in the atmosphere. Around him, other citizens came out to watch. There were no cheers, no celebrations, just quiet relief and grim satisfaction. "Papa, we won?" Masun asked. "Yes, little one. We won." War Master Throk's damaged ship barely made it to the junk point. As he prepared to flee, he sent one final transmission towards Sol System. "You have won today, humans. But know this, the galaxy will never accept your dominance. Others will come." Admiral Tae-yang received the message. He opened the channel, his face appearing on Throk's screen one last time. "War Master, you still don't understand. We don't want dominance. We want peace. But we've learned the hard way that peace only works when everyone is too afraid to disturb it." He leaned forward. "Go back to your people. Tell them what you saw here today. Tell them that Sol System is unconquerable. Tell them that humanity tried diplomacy and was answered with war. And tell them that if they want peace, we're ready to discuss terms." Throk's screen went dark. His ship jumped to faster than light speed, carrying the message that would change galactic politics forever. In the Sol System, the cleanup began. Rescue teams searched for survivors from both sides. Medical ships tended to the wounded. Engineers began repairing damaged platforms. Admiral tasked a message across all galactic frequencies. His face appeared on every communication system in known space. To all species of the Galactic Council, the Coalition attacked humanity's home system with 50,000 ships. Fewer than 8,000 survived. We did not pursue them. We did not seek revenge against their home worlds. He paused, letting that sink in. Humanity doesn't want conquest. We want security. We want peace. But we've proven we can defend ourselves against any aggressor. He gestured to the space behind him, where Earth hung in the view screen, beautiful and blue. "This is our home. We will defend it with everything we have. But we're also ready to talk. Ready to build a better galaxy. Ready to ensure that no species needs to fear aggression from another." His expression hardened. "Come to Earth. Come to the peace table. Let's discuss how to build a future where strength protects rather than threatens. You have 10 days to send representatives." The message ended. The ships began arriving at Earth within days. Not warships this time, but diplomatic vessels carrying representatives from across the galaxy. They came in fear, in curiosity, and in hope. The massive human defense platforms tracked every ship but didn't fire. Instead, automated guides directed the visitors to designated landing zones. Ambassador Jiwoo stood in the newly constructed Galactic Assembly Hall in Geneva, watching as delegates filed in. The hall was beautiful, with windows showing Earth's mountains and cities beyond. It was a deliberate choice, showing these alien visitors that humanity had built something worth protecting. Chancellor Rex approached her, his elderly features tired. "Ambassador Park, I must ask, what happens now? Does humanity conquer the galaxy?" Jiwoo smiled slightly. "Chancellor, when did we ever say we wanted to conquer anyone? We built strength to protect ourselves, not to dominate others." She gestured to the assembling delegates. "But we won't allow the chaos of before. No more species conquering their neighbors without consequence." The hall filled with representatives from 43 species. Some were former enemies, like the surviving Krell leadership. Others were neutral parties. A few were humanity's secret allies who had provided support during the war. Captain Hyan-Seo Lee stood at the entrance, commanding the security detail. Her team wasn't there to threaten anyone, but to show that humanity took this summit seriously. Each guard wore ceremonial armor that was nonetheless fully functional, a reminder of human military power presented with dignity. When everyone was seated, Admiral Tae-yang entered. He had traded his military uniform for formal diplomatic attire, but everyone in the room knew who he was and what he had done. He walked to the central podium with quiet confidence. "Honored delegates," he began, "thank you for coming to Earth. I know many of you came because you felt you had no choice. That's honest, and I appreciate honesty." He looked around the room. "But I hope you'll leave understanding that humanity's strength is meant to protect, not to threaten." He activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. For thousands of years, galactic civilization has operated under a simple rule: the strong prey on the weak. Species with military power conquered those without. The Galactic Council tried to prevent this through diplomacy, but without enforcement, words meant nothing. The display shifted, showing historical battles and conquests. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably, seeing their own species' aggressive past displayed. "Humanity studied this history," Taiyan continued. "We learned that peaceful species without military strength always fell. So we chose a different path. We built strength in secret while learning everything we could about galactic warfare. And when forced to reveal that strength, we used it decisively." A Krell delegate, not Throck but another warrior named Grak, stood up. "You humiliated us, destroyed our fleet. What stops you from destroying our home world?" Taeyang looked at him directly. "What stopped us when we could have pursued your fleeing ships? What stopped us from orbital bombardment when we had total superiority?" He paused. "Our values. Humanity doesn't seek genocide or conquest. We seek a galaxy where aggression has consequences, but where defeated enemies can rebuild peacefully." Ji Woo took over the presentation. "We're proposing something new. The Terran Accord. A restructured galactic government with actual power to enforce peace." The holographic display showed the proposal. A new council structure with humanity as the primary military guarantor, supported by allied species. Trade routes protected by joint fleets. Disputes resolved through arbitration, backed by the threat of military intervention. Most importantly, any species attempting conquest would face unified opposition. "You're asking us to give up sovereignty," complained the Draknari representative. "No," Jiwoo corrected. "We're asking you to accept consequences for aggression. Run your societies however you want. Follow your own cultures and traditions. But the moment you attack another species for conquest, you face humanity and our allies." Captain Hyanseo watched the reactions carefully. Some delegates seemed relieved, actually wanting this protection. Others were clearly uncomfortable with humanity's dominant position. But all of them understood they had little choice. The Luminary delegate, the being of light who had secretly allied with humanity, spoke up. "How do we know humanity won't abuse this power? You could become the tyrants you claim to oppose." Admiral Taeyang nodded. "A fair question. That's why we're proposing checks on our own authority. First, decisions about military intervention require approval from a council of allied species. Second, we're opening our military academies to all species who want to learn our tactics and technology. Third, we're establishing an oversight committee that investigates complaints against human forces." He pulled up another display. "Most importantly, we're proposing shared defense fleets. Ships from multiple species, trained in human tactics, protecting specific regions. Humanity provides the core strength, but we're not the only enforcers." Over the next 3 days, the delegates debated every aspect of the Terran Accord. The Krell demanded protection for their remaining territory and assurances they wouldn't be dismantled as a species. Ji Woo agreed, but with conditions. The Krell would release all conquered peoples and accept human oversight of their military rebuilding. The smaller species wanted guarantees they wouldn't be abandoned if threatened. Admiral Taeyang proposed a rapid response fleet, based on human ships but staffed by mixed crews. that could reach any threatened world within days. Dr. Haijin Moon presented a technological sharing program. Humanity would provide advanced technology to allied species, raising the overall galactic standard. Not the most powerful weapons, but enough to make every species capable of self-defense. "We're not keeping you dependent on us," she explained. "We want a galaxy where everyone is strong enough to defend themselves, but also understands that cooperation is better than conquest." On the fourth day, Captain Yuna Kang led a demonstration for the assembled delegates. Her team showed human combat techniques, explaining the tactics that had defeated the coalition. Then, surprisingly, she invited delegates to participate in training simulations. A young Vrel warrior named Tik tried the human-powered armor system. At first, he struggled with the controls, but Captain Yuna patiently taught him, showing how the neural interface worked. "You're a natural," she told him. "The armor enhances your instincts, not replaces them. Feel the system, don't fight it." Tik executed a perfect combat maneuver, his insectoid features showing something like pride. "This is amazing. With training, my people could defend our worlds." "That's the idea," Yuna said. "Everyone should be able to protect what they love." The demonstration had its intended effect. The delegates saw that humanity was willing to share knowledge and empower others. It wasn't about keeping everyone weak and dependent. On the final day, the vote took place. Each species could accept the Terran Accord, reject it, or abstain. The tension in the hall was thick as Chancellor Rex called for the vote. One by one, species accepted. The Luminari, the Crystallans, the Sephrons, even the neutral Azarans. Then came the former enemies. The Drachnari hesitated but accepted. The smaller coalition members followed. Finally, it came to the Krell. Delegate Grak stood, his scales showing marks of battle. The Krell Empire was built on conquest. Strength through domination. "You've shown us a different kind of strength." He paused. "It goes against our traditions, but we're warriors, not fools." The Krell accept the Terran Accord. The vote was unanimous. Ambassador Jiwoo felt relief wash over her. 50 years of preparation, weeks of war, and now, finally, peace. Real peace, enforced by strength. Admiral Tae Yang stood to address the assembly one last time. "Today begins a new era. Humanity didn't want to be the galaxy's protector. We wanted to explore, learn, and grow in peace. But when that wasn't possible, we adapted." He looked at each delegate. "Now we use that strength to ensure everyone can live in peace. Not through fear, but through mutual respect and shared security." In orbit above Earth, the first mixed species defense fleet assembled. Human ships alongside Luminari vessels, Vrel fighters, and even a few Krell warships that had been repaired and upgraded with human technology. Commander Biora Choi oversaw the integration, working with officers from a dozen species. "Formation looks good," reported a Vrel tactical officer, still getting used to human military terminology. "Excellent work," Bohra replied. "Remember, we're all one fleet now. When someone calls for help, we respond together." The mixed fleet executed its first training exercise, a coordinated patrol of a major trade route. The movements were rough, the coordination imperfect, but it was a start. On Earth's surface, Young-Soo watched the news broadcast with his daughter. The report showed the signing of the Terran Accord, the formation of joint defense fleets, and interviews with alien delegates expressing cautious optimism. "Papa, does this mean no more wars?" Mi-sun asked. Young-Soo thought carefully before answering. "It means wars will be harder to start and easier to stop. Bad people will always exist, but now there's someone strong enough to stop them." He hugged his daughter. "Your grandparents lived through the preparation years. I lived through the war. Maybe you'll live through the peace."